Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Justin, John, and a patiently waiting Kiki. Come on up. Come on up, say hello, yay! Oh, oopsie. Come on, Keekers. No, and a horrible wrestly Kiki with bites. With bites. Oh no, no bites. No bites, you monstrous dog, you. Oh no, monster. Get off, come on. Exiled, exiled. Oh wait, your ball. You left your ball in here, huh? Is that your tactic? Whoop, I bumped off your nose. There you go, Bob. Good girl. Yeah. I'll be back. You hang out. Oh. Ugh. Hi. How's your Monday? Chompy puppy, I know. I really have to stop her chomping, but I keep hoping that she is going to stop chomping. A pheasant tried... Well, at least a peasant didn't try to steal your phone. Oh, dear. Yeah, she was patiently waiting. Well, it was kind of weird, right, Agent Marvel? She's like, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to wait until your intro's done. I can come up. That's Kiki. Oh, wow. Good. Yay, Kodiak, yay. Yes, remember, now our goal is more reviews. I have 4 reviews on Amazon, and I know I've got a few, I think, on Goodreads. So now it's more reviews. We just need more reviews. The long goal now. Now we're past the short term like book boost, and now we're into the people are actually reading the book. Hopefully some of them are enjoying it, and hopefully some of them will leave reviews, because 10's our target number. 10 is our social proof target number. Anything beyond that for a new book is gravy. Crows, where have you been? It came out Monday. It came out a week ago. What was it? Yes, certainly a sentence you never thought you'd write. Yay. Oh, thank you, Tyler. Thank you for buying it. Yay. Round of applause. So, Crows, if you search East of the Sun, Becker, Beckerer is my old married name. B as in boy. You will find it on Amazon. It will be the first result. Oh, good. Yay. Thank you, everybody. No, it's cool. Well, then you'll like my book because it's this pure escapist fun, Crows. Pure escapist fun. But yeah, you're the... I don't know which is like... Oh, good, Zachariah. Yay. I'm very happy. I'm so happy you guys have bought it. I hope a few of you really it vibes with you. So yeah, super cool. So yeah, there we go. Quindy's got the link. There you go, Crows. Go and save it for later if you have to or something. You can read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. And that's the weird thing, right? Is I know what my sales numbers are on the Kindle sales paid, right? The $4.99. And I know what my sales numbers are on book, or at least I know what my sales rank is, right? But I don't know what Kindle Unlimited is at all. I have no idea if there are people out there who have grabbed the book and are reading it on Kindle Unlimited. I won't know that until the end of May, because that's the payment cycle. It's a full 60-day and then end of month. So essentially, since I did mid to late March, it'll go end of March and then 2 months beyond that, so the end of May. So right around Memorial Day, where I might be out doing a litter evaluation on Kiki's new half-brothers and sisters, who are not born yet. They're due on the 1st. You bribed it with cheese. Oh, good, Quindy. Yay! No, Crows, you didn't. I submitted my files to Ingram's, which is the big printer distributor out there in the world for books, which is how you can do a hardcover for being an indie author. But they haven't processed my file yet, even for the paperback. So, and I've got to get my cover artist to turn around a hardback cover. So I have to reformat the book and get her some information. That's on my to-do list for later this week. And then I'm going to do a nice dust jacket version. So, but yeah, it takes a while with Ingram's because they're like the dinosaur. They're like the company that's been publishing for over 100 years. And they're who the traditional publishers use, right? The big New York names all use Ingram's. or at least a lot of them do, because they've got a pretty hefty print-on-demand arm now. But they also make it available for indie authors. So it just takes a while. It takes a while for them to process your files. It takes a while for them to get you in their system. It takes a while for that to populate. So who knows how long it's going to be before people can walk into a Barnes & Noble and order my book, or go on Barnes & Noble's online catalog and order my book, or go to the local bookstore and order my book. Ugh, I have to check that again today. So yeah, but hardcover, I was gonna just whip one out, Crows, but then I realized like the size that I chose for my softcover, the 8x5, is actually not available in hardcover. The smallest you can go in hardcover is 8.5 by 5.5. And so that put a wrench in my plans because I couldn't actually publish using my existing cover file. I have to get a new one from my cover artist. The interior file is easy because I can just put that in my program and reformat it to the size I want. But yeah, I've got to get my cover artist has to have the time. And she's got to work it in. Like, it doesn't take her long, but she's working on other people's books now. So, I have to get that done. Oh, no, Chibi. I'm so sorry you're buried in snow. I'm so sorry. Actually, let me put this on my to-do list because I feel like I'm emerging from the fog, right? Because like it's just been a fog the last week. Release week is a fog. And now I'm like, what am I supposed to do again? So I was like, check Ingram's status. I'll check Ingram's status. Reformat hardcover file. I think I'm gonna have to go with 6x9. Hardcover file and get info to Rav. But right away, here today is really, has to be Patreon stuff. There we go. Got the to-do list up. But yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's good. For dust jackets, she does charge a bit more, but I don't blame her, Chibi, because those are a lot of work. Like, it's a totally different format and a totally different template. So she can't just use the template that she used for softcover. She has to redesign the whole thing. So I'm totally cool with that. Like, I would like a nice, even though this dust jacket is like, that's the hardcover that's the most expensive to produce. I want one. I want one. So I'll do it, right? Cover artist got to eat for sure. Oh, she is worth it. Every cent, man. Every cent. All right. I need wire. And I think I was going to use wire here. And I was thinking about doing quick basing on... I'm really kind of... It's weird, but I'm totally, guys. And I'm sure you understand, but I've been in a complete fog for the last week. So I entered into this today, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to do some more intense stuff on this. And I'm like, I don't have anything I need. Yeah. Hardbacks are great. So, it's for sure. Yeah, Chibi, that's for sure. Yeah, so, all right. Well, I'll do what I can. I need to look at this, to look at our Necromancer and see what else I have to do, if anything. I think she was really looking pretty good, all things considered. We got everything set on her, except for the base. Now, what I don't want to do, even though bases are boring, what I really don't want to do is to have all these minis that I have to base in my own off time in order to give them to Ron. So I think I might work on her base today. We'll just do a pretty quick one. We did the book, we did her eyes, we've got everything. I don't see, like, I'm feeling like she's looking pretty good, honestly. Yeah, I think she's looking pretty good. If I had my way, it would be cool to do a bigger flagstone base on her. And maybe I'll just putty that. Maybe I will just putty that. So let me grab my green stuff real quick. Let's do some green. Let's do some green. Oh, broken all-time snow. Yeah, I bet, because it's March too, right? Yeah. That's crazy. excited that I was going to give her a bone or something, but she hasn't wanted her bones, so I haven't been giving her the raw bones. Yeah, I think she's really turned out well. She turned out a lot tighter. Like, it's hard to do the little tiny, you know, little tiny models. Ugh, what did I get? Okay, I need to wash this off. 1 second. That's the problem with keeping your green in the freezer is the packaging can get stuff on it. So yeah, okay. So yeah, my book is still doing better on, much better on paperback than it is on ebook. I went to my writing group yesterday and they were like, that's because the cover's so amazing, everybody wants to own a hard copy. I'm like, all right, cool. maybe that's it. But it's still doing, I think top 30,000 or so. Like, it's in the 30,000s. On Amazon. So it's it'll be interesting to me because it certainly peaked higher. The actual hard or the softcover version, the trade paperback, peaked much higher than the ebook. And so I'm interested to see where they both settle out. Pendrick, I really want her base. The little generic cobblestone base isn't doing it for me. I want kind of like shattered flagstones. I want bigger pieces. If we had time, I could do the cool treatment David does, which would be to cut her off of this base, although it'd be tricky to get it to look okay with her boots. Like, you'd have to be really careful. If I wanted to do that, I should have done it at the start of the model and not now. But what David does is he creates a thin, smooth layer, kind of like a plate of wood putty, lets it dry, and then shatters it. And uses that for like shattered flagstones or that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I think she's cool. But I just want bigger plates down here. I want bigger flagstones. Oh, that's good, Richard. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll be interested to see where the two versions of the book settle out now. But I'm generally ready for like all my sales to have been loaded into this first month, and then the book will kind of disappear until book two comes out, you know, and then we'll get more publicity on it, and what I will probably do. So if you have relatives, like if you guys read it and you like it, and you have relatives that like might be interested or friends, but they're like I don't know if I want to spend 5 books on whatever. I can do like a discount or a free promotion, and I think I'll do that in April. So I'll tell you guys, and then if you have friends you want who would pick it up for free and just give it a read, I may do that. I'm undecided whether I want to go for the free or want to do the discount promotion and just put it up for $2.99 for a while. I'll probably just kind of talk to people and get a general feel for it. You get a totally different audience if you are going free than you do if you are going like discount paid. Yeah, that's just Dick Chibi. That's the thing. Because when you get the free, it seems like a lot of writers say you get people who otherwise wouldn't like be the audience for your book trying to read your book, and you get bad reviews because they're just whatever they were expecting. It wasn't that, right? They just picked it up because it was free. So you don't actually get your target audience, and I don't like that idea. So maybe I'll just put it on for the $2.99. I have to promote it that way if I'm going to do like an email list type of thing to promote it. But again, yeah, discount not free. Good. Yeah, people are skeptical if it's free. Yeah. See, and that's what I'll give you guys. This is indie authors don't understand this. People are even skeptical if you put it at 99 cents, right? Oh, it must not be very good if they put it to 99 cents, right? Yeah. So I think $2.99 is legit. It's a legit sale, but you're still, and the nice thing is you're still getting your full royalty. Yeah, it says cheap. Yeah, that's why I chose not to go with the $2.99 on launch. I could have gotten a lot more sales if I would have done that. And that's one of the games that people do to get up in the bestseller lists, right? But I don't really care about that. What I really want is for my best reader to find me, right? The reader who really is into fairy tale fiction and fantasy. Like, I want that person reading my book because that person has a chance to really, really vibe with my work. So yeah. It can be weird on libraries because often they're already trying to offload books that don't do anything chibi. I might, I've already got, part of the reason I went into Ingram's is that it provides books to libraries, right? Libraries will look through that catalog, and if they decide my book is a good fit for them, they'll pick it up. But, oh, digital. Oh, okay. I don't know how to do that. I'll look into, because sometimes it can be tricky to get into libraries. Like, libraries have like a process. at least with what the articles I've been reading say, it can be hard to get into libraries. But I'll look into it. I could always call like the local like California like library branch and say I'm a local author and I have an ebook and do you guys want a few copies? I can see if there's actually any way to do that. I always forget that the digital stuff is different these days because I don't do ebooks through libraries. Like I actually have never done it, but yeah, because they don't have to stock it on their shelf. So why not have it in your digital app? No, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that's a good thought. That's a really good thought. Okay, so green stuff. I mean, I could just paint this quick, but I'm just like, I want flagstones, and I wonder if I have a black base. Where are my bases? Bases. I need bases. I'm sorry. I'm so discombobulated. I'm just a discombobulated Anne. And I had to take care of the puppy all, weekend while David was at, I do have my bag of bases here. Well, David was at Adepticon. He got Best in Show Grandmaster. But he said there weren't very many entries. I need Reaper bases. Where are my Reaper bases? That is not the Reaper bases. Are these the Reaper bases? Yes, these are the Reaper bases. Yeah, thanks, D. Clearman. Yeah, so he did that, and he did not, even though they pulled his Beastmen for commendation, like, they didn't get him a demon. So once again, David has tried at Golden Demon and not come home with a trophy. But it's hard. And there's only 2 Golden Demon competitions in the entire world right now. And that makes it hard. Because what happens is that a bunch of the Europeans, and, from all over, come to America because they're already used to teaching classes at Adepticon because of Crystal Brush. So they know they can make part of their travel costs back by teaching seminars and classes. That's an opportunity for them to come over and compete in our Golden Demons and maybe have better luck than they had in the UK. And actually the Slayer Sword winner of this year, apparently entered his model at UK Golden Demon. And it got reclassed into open because his base was so huge. And then it didn't really do anything. And he's like, well, screw this, I'm going to cut down the base and redo it and just enter it in single. And he did it, and he won Slayer Sword in America. He brought it over here. So David got Grandmaster Best in Show. That's Privateer Press's Grandmaster painting competition. But yeah, so he got a big gold, the awesome silver skull trophy that I have, he's got a big gold version of it. But yeah, so he did well there. He did not get a Golden Demon. He placed, apparently, the Marvel, is it Crisis Protocol? Is that what it is? The Marvel miniatures game. They had some seriously good work entered, David said. Like, it was tough competition, and they judged it tough, too. So he only got a silver in there for his Iron Man, which I'm like, oh, hey, I can show you guys his Iron Man now. It's out there. One second. Let me dig it out. Let me see if I can actually get it out of his case. out. It's all blue tack down so crazy. I don't want to break anything. So I'm going to just leave it in there and I'll have to get it. Cranston. It's easily, I have a theory. Everybody's got a theory about Golden Demon, right? And some people think it's just a crapshoot. And to some extent, they're right. Because what happens in Golden Demon is that 3 different judges, one of which is American. They usually grab Kalen Whistlebach, who's you guys probably know him. He's CJ, I think, CJ Painting Studios, and also he's taught at ReaperCon before. He does a lot of airbrush classes at Adepticon. Caleb's cool. So Caleb was one of the judges, but then they also have 2 UK people that they bring over. And usually they're heavy metal team members, or they're sculptors, or they're promo people. Promo department is what does the big dioramas and photo shoots and terrain and everything for White Dwarf. And so you've got 2 people, 2 random UK people, and Caleb, who are already going to have different aesthetics. And then the random UK people also don't agree on stuff. So what you've got then is they've this trio of judges that have to agree on all these things, and they're judging a category. Each category easily has at least 8 to 10 top level amazing pieces, any of which could win. And so it comes down entirely to like nitpicking and personal preferences. And so apparently there was a lot of arguing this year among the judging team. And so you ended up getting a real like mixed bag of what won, because I think they just all had to agree to compromise here or there. So some people, like one judge would get his pick here and there, and the other judge would get his pick here and there, and Caleb's picks would show up here and there. And so it would look it looks like it was random, right? But it's not random. It's just that there are so many good pieces, and then it came down to like which judge was going to throw down and not step off of that island, right? Not step off of their hill. They're going to die on that hill, right? And the other judges maybe didn't care as much about that category, so that's the piece that got it, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, and so it makes it look really random. Although when David showed me some of the winners that he couldn't understand, there was definitely, or a piece that didn't get commended that he didn't understand at all why it didn't. I could see why. Like Kaha's, she got one of the new squat tanks, I think, being attacked by a chaos monster. But the chaos monster was mostly scratch, built with like tyrannid tentacles and stuff. So I couldn't immediately recognize the model. And that's big when you're doing Golden Demon, because the only reason that James Workshop does Golden Demon is for advertising. So if I can't readily identify the model, right? Because that's the main reason to do it. I mean, they're spending all this money on trophies. They're spending all this money to bring it to the USA. You know, all those cases, all the personnel to staff the table, all this stuff. They're spending a ton of money. So what are they getting in return? They're getting advertising images. So if I can't immediately identify the model or the monster, then it's going to drop a level. It's not going to be no matter how amazing it is, right? She still got a demon. She still scored another silver in one category. But she brought 6 entries this year and walked away with 1 demon. I don't know about her other entries, but yeah, she's got a very stylistic style, and it's not typical GW. Well, let's face it, every company these days has like its own agenda, right? Because you got to still stay profitable. And in some ways, I like the new Games Workshop a bit better than the old Games Workshop. I'm going to grab my base here. Got a nice little circular base for her, so I can do a little bit more. I'm going to carefully take her off this base. My putty has gotten very stiff, so I'm going to actually take the entire thing off. Instead of trying to work her base out of it, we're just going to peel this right off the wood, and then we're going to take the putty off. And that's going to be easier, and it's going to mean less pressure on like her ankles and stuff, because she's so spindly. I don't want stuff to break. So I'm just going to do that and pry her completely off. Oh, we use the Army, whatever the cases, Table Wars cases. So you use essentially sticky tack to fix your models in place on a shelf, and then you transport it. In the case, you take it, you don't ever put it in luggage, of course. You actually have to take it as a carry-on. So there we are. We're good. We've managed to extricate her from her blue tack. It was very easy once I took her off of the entire base. Yes, and Cornico, that was a point I made to David earlier, because he's like, one of our friends, oh crap, Ben Cantor, who is the guy who works in theater in Hollywood, like doing like colors for animated and other films, like doing like scenes and things. He's one of those processing people who like looks at color using it for mood and ambience and things like that. That's what his job is. He always has amazing lighting stuff in his stuff, and he's very, very good. And one of his pieces got bronze, and David is like, I don't know why this didn't take gold, because the silver piece wasn't nearly as good as his. And the thing is that he's got amazing freehand on this piece, but no, like you say, no gamer would ever get inspired to do it, because they wouldn't even believe that they'd ever in a million years have the ability to do it, right? So inspiration, I think that really is part of it. My theories about the Golden Demon stuff is really, one, you have to be doing more or less GW canon. You can depart a bit, but you know, you have to stay in the ballpark, and you have to be able to recognize the models. And if it's too, unfortunately, this is unfortunate, but if it's too crazy good, you probably aren't going to win. Unless the models are instantly recognizable, and it's not like, and it's something maybe that somebody could aspire to do. Because if you're not inspirational, like the majority of the GW audience is gamers, right? And there's been a schism for a very long time, guys, between the gamers and the painters in the GW community. A lot of hating, a lot of drama. So I could see that being, yeah, it is a big advertisement, exactly. So they said the person entering models in the competition the first day wasn't one of the judges and decided on their own. Oh, that explains why some stuff, that's not necessarily true. Okay, so you actually do choose your category when you enter in a Golden Demon. It's on the entry form, Turgeon. So I wouldn't give that too much credibility. That said, I think maybe there were a couple mistakes made, because you do have a little bit of leeway to reclass something probably into open, and something did get reclassed into open. So at least one thing. So that may have been, but yeah, you do get to mark down what category you're going for. I mean, most cases it's obvious. The problem comes, apparently Sergio's thing got reclassed, but the reason was that he entered it in diorama, but it wasn't 40K scale. And apparently, and this is something I didn't know, and I don't know if it's for reals, but David said, apparently to be classed as a diorama, you have to be in like 40K or Age of Sigmar scale. You can't be doing a big model, and he did a big one. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's just it. It would explain the skink last year, right? That's what I thought. When I saw that skink get put up, and now given, it was amazing painting. And the Slayer Sword winner this year, if you look at those blends, they're freaking flawless. It takes time and effort to do that. It is not easy. But most average painters don't understand how hard that is. And so it's more attainable than seeing a model covered with crazy freehand, right? Single versus large, yeah. Well, and that's kind of weird too. Like sometimes I don't know, because the problem is that mounted models can go in single, as long as they're not on a monster that's too big. So I think there's wiggle room there. I think there's some wiggle room there. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry, Twisted Dome, I missed that. Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, Twisted Dome. Hopefully you recover quickly. We have to cover up the slot base here. We all know how to do that, right? We've actually got a sticky note right here. Sticky note goes over the top of the slot. This is the easy, cheap way. You could also just use tape. Masking tape, for example. Make the sticky part go over the slot. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's, okay, when I judged Crystal Brush, there were mistakes made, and they are made. Like, much as this is like a huge deal for everybody and nobody wants any mistakes to be made, they are made. But that said, yeah, the entry form does let you put down what you think your model is, but sometimes it's a little bit weird with like mounted singles and stuff like that. It gets a little bit weird. Because I'm always kind of surprised at this, if you're a mounted model, like my Griff Riders. The Griff horse steed thing is pretty big, but it still counts as just a single miniature. Whereas if it was a monster, like Archaon on his big 3-headed monster beast, that's definitely large. But sometimes I think there's a gray area in there and you're just not sure. There we go. So now we're nice and we can put glue down. All right, so now I've got my putty. But yeah, I mean, with painting competitions in general, there's always going to be randomness and there's always going to be, what won? Why didn't this win? You know, I'm actually pretty astonished that things are generally, like at Reaper, in the Master Series Open, you usually can see why. Like, the judges can tell you why something, you know, got voted up or down, and they can tell you why you why you made a silver instead of a gold or whatever. Alrighty. Hello, little mini. Where is my glue? Glue. And we'll put yeah, I was working on a Griff Rider for Celestial, whatever those things are, Stormcast Eternals. But I fell out of love with it, and so it just went by. It's sitting in the closet in pieces. I was doing a conversion, and I just got the conversion just did me in. Sometimes I gotta remember to keep it simpler. But yeah, the Griff Rider, I mean, it's like, it's not a winged griffin, it's a non-winged griffin, but it's still the size of a griffin. Like, if it had wings, yeah, it's a hippogriff, but it's wingless. No, not for a Sigmarine. It's like I said, whatever that Stormcast Eternals. It's a really cool mount, and I love the model, and I've always wanted to paint it, but come on, stick. Obviously, I need to give my glue time to set. Set, glue, set. Gonna let that sit. But yeah, so, but yeah, it can be like bigger than a horse, significantly. But then at some point you hit that, oh, this is now significantly bigger than a horse. Now it's a large model, and that is a little bit titchy. This is a hippogriff. It doesn't have lions backside. It has a horses. They're really cool minis. They're neat monstrous steeds. I like them. I'm just going to make this into a rope and put it all around, and I'll start. And it's all sticky. It's very, very sticky. Now I need some tools. I need this. I need spade. I could probably get away with just the big one and the spade and this. Yes. Yes, that guy. It was a conversion on that guy. I was using him, except I was actually using, for him, I actually converted. I grabbed pieces from the big kind of like, the Drake Riders, from that same army. There are like mages that ride the drakes, and I wanted to do, and you can do a mage riding a griff instead. So I liked that idea. I liked the sculpts better on the mages, so I grabbed a mage and I was converting him. But the problem is you have to use the Lord Aquilor's like bottom part, and so trying to get the mage's torso like worked into the bottom part, like it wasn't a perfect fit and there was a lot of filling to do. So I kind of ground it out after part of it. And it was just a little bit too ambitious for how much energy I had. So this time around, I actually started painting yesterday on what could be an entry for next year. And I'm going stock. I may convert the pose slightly. But I'm going to paint one of my Sisters of Battle. Oh, I found my Sisters of Battle Pendrake. It was actually 4 units and the big main like Mother Superior model in the battle suit. So I got, what I really need is some Sephirim, I think they're Sephirim, I don't remember, but the ones that have the jetpacks, I need some of those. Okay, so that's an initial green, so we're getting that in there. Now I need another layer. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, Sigmarines is... I didn't realize that, Pendrick. See, you knew a GW thing that I didn't. That's because I don't, like, follow the community very much. No, you know what? It might be legal these days, but I don't like it. I want to be able to... I want to be doing everything. For one thing, Pendrake, the thing is here, and I've always believed this, and it's honestly what's gotten me this far, is if you never do it yourself, you're never going to learn it. You're never going to get good at it. You're never going to like be comfortable with it. Sculpting was scary to me for a long time, but once I actually started doing it, I realized that it wasn't as scary as I thought it was and that I could do it. And if I had always just reached for somebody else to help me, then I would never have gotten to that state where I could actually sculpt things competently. The only thing that grounded me out on that model was simply that wasn't that I couldn't do it. It was just that I didn't have the energy for it. Sometimes you look at a task and you're like, I think I talked about this a little bit when I was talking about motivation the other day. And I mentioned that for some people, and I'm one of them, if I get an ambitious idea, I need to move on it right away. If I don't begin that idea right away, I will lose the energy for it over time. And then the project will just kind of go in the wastebasket or in a box in the closet. And a lot of us are like this. If it's very ambitious, we need that initial excitement to carry us through. It's kind of the opposite, and you can have both, by the way, of these, but it's kind of the opposite of the person who needs to stop and think about an idea for a long time before they execute on it. I have both of these. I have to think about an idea for a long time, but once I have that idea, once it comes to full, like, in my head and I get excited about it, I have to execute that instant. Like, I have to. And if I don't, then it's probably just going to cascade into something else. Yeah. Hello. Hey, Geltip. We are doing some green. I didn't like the cobblestone look on this necromancer. I didn't think she was I didn't think she was on a city street, like, performing Hamlet, which just kind of looks like what she is doing. And so I'm just bulking in around her established base so that I can then make some bigger flagstones over the top of it. Yeah, happy Monday. We were just talking about Golden Demon because my husband just got back from it. He didn't have any luck, although he did get the Privateer Press Grandmaster Best in Show. Adepticon, I will say one thing, guys, and that is that Adepticon, between the Marvel and the Creature Caster and, like, Privateer, though they might not do it next year because they sadly didn't get a big turnout this year, and Golden Demon, and there's a lot of little smaller companies that have painting competitions at Adepticon now, and some of them are quite competitive. So it's really, if you want to compete, it's not a bad con to arrange to go to. If you have the time to do entries for, like, Marvel Crisis Protocol and Creature Caster and Golden Demon and, you know, whoever else is doing, there's a whole bunch of smaller companies, I think, that do painting competitions too. But it certainly gives you a lot of opportunities if you're interested in trying to compete. And a lot of different levels probably too, right? Because some of the smaller companies won't be quite as competitive and things like that. Yeah, I stayed home with the puppy this year because she's still not quite old enough not to be bitey, and I didn't think she was ready for a dog sitter. But next year I want to go back because I really enjoy looking at all of the entries in the competitions. I love seeing people's stuff in person. It's never the same seeing it on pictures. It just never is. It looks as good. So I'm just bulking this out. Just adding green stuff a little bit at a time, packing it in, smoothing it down, because this will cover over all this with a layer once we get to putting in big flagstones. And since I'm doing flagstones, I can actually leave a bit of an edge out here, a vertical edge, because we can make that an edge of a flagstone. So I don't need to, like, blend it into the space. I can leave a little bit overlap. Yeah, ReaperCon and Adepticon are very different vibes. And they're both cool for different reasons. But if I picked two cons and only two cons to go to in the year, those would probably be my two. But yeah, I really hoped. Apparently, David was really, really in the running for a Golden Demon with his Beastman unit. And I'm so sad he didn't get it. I really had hoped for him this year. I thought they were very, very competitive. But yeah. That's a bummer, Chris. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does have and the cool thing about Adepticon, so it's not as informal, I would say, and as friendly as Reaper, although the painting Camp Wapple always is. So there's not nearly as much room to actually paint. So if you want to go and hang out and paint, like there's only a small area for that. That's the problem with Fort Wapple, Camp Wapple, is that you have to really be lucky to grab a seat, and a lot of times people will move in and camp a seat for a long time. I've never had a big problem. I usually have been able to find a space when I go there, but sometimes somebody will give up their seat because they notice me hovering. But the cool thing about Adepticon is that the Europeans come over. They come over for Golden Demon. They used to come over for Crystal Brush, which means that you can learn from people who are really good from the other side of the pond, which you don't get at ReaperCon. And they have different styles and different techniques and just a different way of looking at the model often. So that can be very worthwhile. But classes do sell out fast, and sometimes they're expensive. So, I mean, there can be like a 3-day class. I mean, if somebody wants to do a 3-day seminar or a 2-day seminar, they can, right? And they're trying to pay their bills, for coming over from Europe. So it's like pros and cons. But if you are interested in learning from some of the best European painters, people like Ben Comets and Sergio, and you don't want to wait for them to come back over to the US and do a tour, that Adepticon can be a good solution. So yeah, so that's I think that's the advantage of Adepticon, just because Adepticon, unlike ReaperCon is like, hey, you teach X classes and we'll pay for your, some of your travel expenses, right? And we wanted to do that because we didn't want artists to have to worry too much about being able to pay for their costs, right? To be able to break even on a con. We just decided we're just going to cover it. You just teach this many things. But Adepticon, you get money back, like Gen Con. So if you run a big 2-day seminar that's like $250 a person, and you manage to pull 20 people, like you can pay for your trip coming from Europe. So, that kind of thing. The kind of thing the ReaperCon format doesn't support that, but the Adepticon format does. Yes, and Adepticon has it does. ReaperCon is getting better, but we need to grab some additional miniatures companies and entice them to come, like Creature Caster. But Adepticon has a very miniatures centric showroom, vendor hall. So Reaper does too, but we still have a lot of stuff that's other, right? But I think Adepticon gets the edge in the vendor hall because they attract like Marvel, and Infinity, and companies that don't come to ReaperCon, where ReaperCon may not even be on their radar. So yeah, Adepticon just a different, like, it's a very much a gaming con. Like the gaming is the huge draw there, but yeah, there are a lot of classes. So it's just, I think it's really hard to get the con hotel. It sells out instantly. And although there is enough hotel space in walking distance to make it not too painful. But yeah, I've enjoyed it in the past. Although, God, Chicago that time of year, I never want to go. Not ever. Yes, and that is just the fact that in order to lock in our dates at the Denton Convention Center, we had to sign several years in advance, Geltip. I don't know. At this point, ReaperCon will probably just continue being on the same weekend as other cons. Some of our attendees just alternate, to go one to the other. I mean, ReaperCon's a very unique con, so if it fits your vibe better than those other cons, you're just going to come to ReaperCon. And we've got certainly a core of people who do. ReaperCon is certainly also growing. So I don't think it makes sense to change the date if we don't have to, even though it does compete. I mean, you're always going to be fighting around those holiday weekends, right? But now our the fan base that comes every year is used to those dates. And so I think we'd actually lose people if we swapped away and tried to do a date that didn't conflict with other cons. Because it doesn't, like, we could swap it and be 2 weeks apart, but that's going to be the same thing, right? This is the problem, is that, okay, so if Dragon Con is the same time as ReaperCon, and then I have to choose, but if it was 2 weeks apart, I'd still have to choose, right? It's not like I'm going to turn around and go to 2 cons in 2 weeks. So we'd have to significantly change it. And at that point, well, you're going to be in conflict with another con. There is always another con during the summer month. During late spring to early fall, there is always a conflict. And we ran into that. We've gone back and forth. There were many, many dates that were tried for ReaperCon over the first few years. We used to be in May, but then it was conflicting with Origins. People didn't want to do that. Yeah. Yes, ReaperCon is definitely more about the hobby side, and it's very friendly and relaxed. All right, so we're slowly blocking in all this. It doesn't matter if we do even blending. We just need to fill in all of our little space there. So let's grab a little glob and fill that in. And then we're going to mix up some more. And a big part this time. Although I may take a break to let this set a bit, because green stuff, if you try to work with it when it's too goopy, you can't get like sharp lines or anything that you need. So we may need to leave this to set up and switch to this guy. I want to play with some ideas on him. That's why I had both models up on the starting soon screen, is because I figured we'd get some prep work done on this little missy, but that we wouldn't be able to like do everything. So I'm going to use the flat end of my sculpting tool, like this end, to kind of go in and tap it up so I get a little bit of an edge here, so I can work that flagstones off of that once I've got everything set. And I'm using water for lubrication. Yeah, yes, agreed, Quindy. October was better. But yeah, that just goes back to when the convention center was built. Those were the dates we were offered. And so we're like, well, we're going to lock those in. And we had to lock it in for like 3 years, I think. And at that point, after 3 years, everybody was so used to Labor Day that it just became the date. Because now, if you're a Reaper fan, you never have to ask what weekend the con is on. It's always Labor Day weekend. Which is, convenient for people scheduling stuff. There we go. All right, so we've got that kind of tamped in, tamped down, and that's going to help that just kind of... Yeah, I know, I just blew 700 on my trip to and from Arizona to see my folks Kodiak, so I feel the travel costs. I feel it. That's why I set up a vacation savings account, and every month I throw in like $100 just so that I'll be able to have some wiggle room there if I want to go and do some things. Travel. Alrighty. Goop. All right. So, what I had in mind, and I don't know if this is going to survive contact with the enemy. Let's see, I might need to grab my wire. This might be thinner wire. I want really thin wire. I need to grab my thinnest wire. And I don't know if I've got anything other than this at this point. I think it's this. I think it's my 24 gauge. I think this stuff is maybe a little bit... Yeah, this stuff's the wire, the black covered wire is a little bit thicker. I think the wire inside of it is the 24 gauge, but this is, I think, maybe a little too thick. What I originally wanted to do for this model is to make more of the magic effect. Yeah. 5 years, yeah. Yeah, it'd only be worth it, and it would throw off. You'd lose your established audience, right? Age of Marvel, the people that always prioritize ReaperCon, like, they would be like, oh no, it changed, and now I have to change my whole schedule, and I can't flex that way, so I guess I'm not going to ReaperCon this year, right? So So I wanted to try, I wanted kind of a swirl of magic coming out and around and maybe splitting. But I don't know if I, now that I'm close, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it split. But I can take this and work probably a spiral of magic out, and I could probably extend this part here. I don't want to extend it too much because if we go too far, then you've got like this model, and if we don't have him fighting somebody, then it's not going to make sense, right? You're going to pull the focal point away from the miniature. So, but I can do kind of a more of a flare of power right around his hand, and so I think I'll do that. I'm going to try to map it with wire and see if it works with wire. If it doesn't work with wire, I have another idea. But he's an evil guy. I don't care if he's a wild mage or not at this point. This is a villain model for sure. For me. I promised people purple and green, so we're going to go purple and green. Just getting a little bit of this excess stuff off of here. Yeah, and I still have some mold lines to take off too. Happily, mold lines on Bones USA are super easy to take off. Okay. We'll get more on that. We'll get more on the cleaning later. All right. So let's get some wire and let's cut off a good part of it. Does he still have my clippers, or my clippers are probably in the other room? 1 second, must retrieve clippers. It depends on if we decide to do OSL Pendrake. If we do that, though, then we have to paint the rest of the model dark. Remember. That's the thing with OSL. I'm going to cut off a fair amount. There. Yeah, if I had even thinner wire than this, then I could do maybe a swirling around the hand kind of thing, but we'll just do what we can with this. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with life, right? There's all sorts of things you'd love to do and limited time and money to do them. I just want extra power. Like, obviously, when you do a sculpt, you've got some constraints. Oh, he's also got a skull on his foot, and this is totally an evil guy vibe here. But we've got some constraints with spell effects in plastic, right? So I just want more. I just want more magic. So I think I'm going to sink it in here and try to swirl it around that way. That's kind of what I had in my head that I wanted to do. So let's, this is a good point to sink it into, because there are like little flares coming out from here too, so it'll really be about right. Plus it's a nice thick part. But it's also really soft, so I think I'll go down first, then slowly tilt the pin vise. If you do that, if you start more vertical, broke off a tip. Oh, hey, this is the first time that's happened. Let's see if we can salvage it. Yes, I think I can. So when you break the tip of a pin vise thing, you have to get in there and try to pull it out. So you want a clippers that has pretty good, see, and this clippers sadly is not good enough. Let me grab one of my hemostats and see if I can manage it. Actually, let's clear like some of this stuff out of here. So I need to get some of this little plastic stuff out of the way so that I can see the end of the pin. I love it when stuff like this happens on stream because then it's a teaching moment, right? You never panic, people. You never panic. Because you know what? I've got an equally good sink-in point for this magic effect right next to it. So if I can't get the pin out, I'll be fine. Yeah, didn't go through or anything. Just snapped off. No, because it's going to be pretty stuck in there. I don't think, maybe a rare earth magnet, maybe, but I doubt it because it's going to be stuck. Yeah, it's really stuck. I can get the tips of the hemostat around it. But remember also, it's actually, it's a spiral, right? It's a drill bit. So if I try to pull it out, it's just not going to work. And this is why usually when this happens, you're just screwed. Because you'd have to twist it and pull it to get it out. Unless there's enough leeway or it's a small enough piece. I'm just trying to see if I can get good purchase on it. And what we may come down to is simply re-sculpting the spell effect. I wasn't originally going to do that, but yeah, the tip is like right out of it. Like I can grab it. So can I grab it and twist it out? That's the question. But I think it's too slippery and too small. So we might be screwed and we might have to put in a different one right next to it. Hello, Tyler. Thank you for the Prime sub. No, can't do it. Not enough purchase, Pendrake. And you've got to also, like, at some point, you have to kind of go, is it worth it? Where'd my, I had my other drill bits around here. Have I totally, like, blorfed myself these days? I may have put them in the other room, but if I can't find my caddy, I'm kind of screwed. Oh, there it is. Knew I had it in here. 1 second. So we've never broken a drill bit on, and it's because I tried to torque it, which works sometimes. I've had it work fine with metal, but for some reason today, that drill bit just said, nope, gonna snap off. So that means we have to go and get more drill bits. Luckily, we have more drill bits. This is why you order them in groups of 10. I always keep my little art box around. But yes, thank you for the sub, Tyler. So yeah, we want to do a spell effect, an additional spell effect on the mage here. And I tried to like kind of go in and then kind of torque the drill bit just gently as I was drilling, and it did not work. And it snapped off, as you can see right there. So now we have to tackle it from a slightly different angle, literally, and try to sink one in right next to that. So I've got to get myself a new bit. Luckily, I have plenty. Yes, these are tiny little drill bits. This is why they break. Now, I broke so many drill bits when I first started working with hand drills. So if you do, don't think it's anything bad. I mean, people do it, right? It just means that you're limited as to where you can drill after that, right? Because obviously you can't. This is a number 75 drill bit, and I get them from Micromark, and you order them in groups of 10 usually. Number 75 drill bit is just ever so slightly larger than the 24 gauge wire. 24 gauge wire is 0.5 millimeter wide, and the 75 drill bit is a 0.51. So essentially it gives you just that 100th of a millimeter, gives you that little extra room to fit that wire in nicely. So, not for me, Richard, because I don't have a real wire cutters. These guys are steel, and so don't ever use a hobby cutters on these guys. You will destroy your clippers and you may shear them. I've seen it happen, so be careful. Whenever you're cutting spring steel, make sure you have appropriately gauged cutters, because hobby cutters are made for brass rod and little else. Aluminum, maybe. That's why I use brass. All right, so now we'll get our little drill bit and we'll put it back in. But yeah, if you have the right pliers that can cut spring steel without, or steel without going to having problems, then yeah, sure, you could use this you should use the broken bit for pinning material. I never find I need that much strength though. So I've gotten my truck opened up and I'm going to get that in there. But yeah, I always find the rod works just fine. Tighten it down. There we go. All right. So I know where my other one went in, and I'm going to try to put this one in just below that. I kind of used the original bit almost as a guide. So we're going to try this number 2. Take 2. So I really am drilling right under the previous pin. Or I'm trying to. And it's working. I'm getting a nice... Now, oddly, we may be able to get the other drill bit out after this because I'm putting the new drill hole, so close to the previous one. We may be able to actually just break through and wiggle it out. That'll make a bigger hole than we really want for our wire. So we'll have to weigh the pros and cons of that. It probably isn't worth getting it out of there, honestly. And always wiggle your pin vise back and forth and pull it out periodically so that you don't sink it in too deep and you don't lose drilling too deep without loosening and pulling out is one of the main causes of the drill bit shearing off in the hole. So but yeah, I mean, this just comes back to, oh no, we lost a drill bit and it broke off in the thing and now I have to fix it. Like, you can see how stressed I am. Not. Yeah, I can see the wire or the drill bit a lot better now. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can pull it out. I have a little bit better. No, I don't think it's going to come out. Yeah, I should just run with it. I'm going to be puttying anyway, so let me see what I got here. If I need to drill more, I probably need to drill more. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and all of those require real side cutters, a real wire cutter. All I use is brass rod. Because my hobby cutters are made for plastic and very soft metals. Anything you buy, any generic side cutter you buy in Hobby Lobby or something is not going to be good enough for steel. You've got to go to a hardware store. So if you want to cut the stuff that Richard is cutting, make sure you get a properly approved and make sure that it's certified for that tension of metal, that hardness of metal. Because otherwise you just, worst case scenario or best case scenario, you just bend the tip, as David accidentally did to these. You can see that they do not close at the top. Or you put little scrunchy bits in there so you can see the light through it. See it? So you accidentally try to cut steel and you end up dinging your clippers, your cutters. Worst case scenario is that the metal of the cutter actually shears off actually shears and flies somewhere, hopefully not into your eye. And yes, this has happened, and yes, I've seen the result. And yes, it was good that the kid was wearing glasses. So be careful. Just be careful. Use the appropriate tool for the job. Yeah, it is, but that's why it's, I mean, we just gotta be smart about it. It's impressive too when you see a like steel actually shear off from pressure. You're like, holy shit, that actually happened. There we go. All right, I think that's good. Grab my pin and see if I can get it. Yeah, okay, good. That's got a good tensile strength. So now I can grab my clipper things and actually grab my, I'll use my hemostat. Yeah, never shirk on the PPE, yeah. Yes, so those are probably, if it's electricians, it may be good for, it may be okay for really hard stuff. Just be careful, guys. I want you all like intact and happily hobbying well into the future. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do it. I'm not used to using the hemostat and it doesn't have the right pressure. So I very carefully bend stuff with my side cutters. This may be a job for fingers. I'm gonna be out a little bit. I want to swirl around. I just want to make this fill effect more interesting in general. I'm not actually doing any specific spell. I think that would be too constraining. Big Chimpo. If I really wanted to get like a particular spell, yeah, sure, I'd have to do different stuff. But mostly I was just really bored with this spell effect and I wanted to see, came out. That's okay though. You can go back in. But I do like the swirl. It is a cool kind of swirl effect that I'm getting, and that's kind of what I wanted. Mostly I just wanted to expand this magic effect to make it not so linear and boring. Because there are constraints of what will go on mold and what will go on casting. Oh no, I need to grab my knife and clean out this. I think this is a blast, but I want some arcing energy. Like, I really want just something a little bit more exciting than the straight up, like, whatever that is. That would even be cooler if there was some sort of, like, feature on it, right? Like, if it had a screaming skull at the end of it or something. But, it's very simple. I just wanted it a little more interesting. So I thought we would do this. I don't usually do like sculpting on the stream because I'm not a pro. I just kind of muddle through. Now, of course, if this is bent, it's like harder to get it to, there we go. There, oh, no, I thought it was sunk in. Maybe I need to glue it at this point. Yeah, I probably do. I should just do that. Let me just make sure that it's all drilled. And make sure I don't have any threads of plastic getting in the way. And then I'll glue it. That'll let me shape it how I want. Yes, Big Chimpo. Or actually, I'm not using green. I'm using something else. I have an idea. It is an armature, however. You are correct on that. There. Stretch it. Yeah. I decided to just hold it in place and see what I could do. Because the problem with gluing it is that then if it snaps out, you've got the extra glue problem to deal with. So I think this is okay. I think I'm just going to pull it out. Oh, I'm shedding. And then I'm going to shape it with my fingers. I'm going to keep that part. Keep that. And I'm just going to pull this around. There. How about that? There's more than one way to make spell effect. Oh, I did, however, break my, there I am. I broke my angle, but that's okay. So I want that, and then I want this to come over here. I want that to stay there. Okay, so I need to get this up and over. So I'm trying to twist it. I'll try and see if that's okay. All right, so now I know that I've got to get that edge up and over. We'll see if I can just get it to go that way. I want it to kind of swoop. Yeah, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. That's actually close. That's actually close what I had in mind. Yeah, I think what Julie told me is to do a real thin, like, kind of coat around the wire, just little bits, like, and then let it set. And that gives your future green something to stick to. So this is a pretty good shape. This is what I kind of wanted. I kind of wanted to be able to bring out more zappy. More zappy. I wanted more zappy. You know, energy. I wanted more zappy energy. So, all right. So this is okay. And I'm going to cut off the end of it. Hey guys, I've got a question for you. Does Reaper have armored skeletons? I can't remember if there are armored skeletons in Reaper's line at this point. I'm looking for a skeleton in armor. I think I'm going to cut off about right here. I don't want it going out too far because then it will disrupt for the composition. No, I need a human size, like a dead guy. I need a dead guy. I need a body. So I really do need like armored human skeletons. That's close, and yeah, there we go. So I think once I fit this in, I think I want that to go down a little bit though. I feel like I want a little bit more. I like this first curve, but I need a little bit more on the second curve. Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like that. It's working a little bit. Bog skeletons. Bog skeletons. Let me look those up. On the Reaper store. Bog skeletons. Are they in plastic? Oh yeah, bog skeletons are actually perfect. They are perfect. Okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks. Are they metal? Nope, they're Bones USA. All right, so they won't have great detail. Who cares? All right. Yeah, you can't link. Sorry. There we go. Green users for you, Richard. So that's Bob and Julie, who are Sculpt for Reaper. A tiny bit of super glue over the top of your wire can give the wire a rougher surface so the green will stick better. So there's the pro tip. Hey, we are in Toolbox Pro Tips. We now have the pro tip. If your green stuff is not sticking to your wire, put a little bit of super glue. Probably just stipple it, right? Just like a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of texture. Yep. Yes, tips from the actual pros, indeed. Okay, so I like this. I think I'm going to glue it. I feel like I want a little bit more of a nice curve at the end here. The danger is in trying to get that without scrunching what you already have done. And having it be a little bit wiggly is okay because and we are going to cover it with some stuff, so I think that's okay. All right, let's get that. If it's a little bit wobbly, a little bit wonky, I'm actually all right. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. Let's see here. Just make sure I've got a good fit and I don't need to clear that drill hole again. Yeah. Fit, sit, okay. Yes, glue. Glue time. Using my tiny little applicator. Boop. To get just a little dot of super glue on there. And now we'll get our wiry thing. Yep. And now we'll give it the angle we want it. A little bit more. Yeah, I just want that. And once it's set, I can twist it just a little bit more. I'll have to be careful not to break it out of there. But this is kind of what I wanted. I wanted kind of a circle of energy, just something a little bit more interesting, and then I can play with that. Yeah, I think the bog skeletons are about what I want. Yeah, I kind of like that, Big Temple. You just want to give the stuff something to adhere to. No, it's a secret. Okay, it's not a secret, but it's like, so essentially what I don't like this hand. But if I make a crackle of energy coming out of this hand where he's sucking life out of a skeleton on the ground, then I like that hand. So that's what I'm doing. So I need just the top part, like just the head and shoulders, and maybe the rib cage of a skeleton on the floor. Hey there, butts. So because if we're already doing like kind of like the wire armature spell effect stuff, then there's no reason not to make more energy like coming out of here, and it wouldn't be hard. It's not this hard to do an effect like this. Hey Wasser, how's it going? So yeah, so I figure we expand the base a bit and we get one of those bog skeletons and we put just the head and shoulders and a little bit of the rib cage so I can have him sucking energy out of the rib cage like he just killed the guy and totally like drained all of his flesh off his bones to power this spell. Thank you, Wasser. But yeah, so that's I'll probably just get rid of it. Because if I'm going to put a skeleton here, with Twistoma, then I don't need that skull. It's just in the way. It's the wrong angle. Because I'm going to have another skull to put there shortly. So yeah. So it's easy. I mean, that's why it's great to have Bones USA. Is you can just clip this stuff off, right? It's very easy. So my little spell effect is looking pretty good. I'm going to let it set. Let it set fully. So what I thought I might do with this is to build texture on it, not with green, because it's very fragile, but to actually use a scenic water effect. So I love working with this stuff, and you guys have seen this a long time ago, but this is Woodland Scenics, and it's their water effects. So it is a heavy-bodied, kind of goopy putty that dries clear and gel-like. So it is great for water effects like wave tops. But, it's going to be a purple and green model. I promised people it would be a purple and green model, Big Chimpo. So we're probably going with a dark purple and a really virulent evil green. No. The point is not to make this water. If I wanted to do water, I wouldn't have used wire. Let's leave it at that. I have tricks. I have not shown on this stream yet. Believe it or not, even after 500 recipes, there's stuff I haven't shown you guys. But what this is really good for is if I just want to build up a rough texture for energy on this wire. And I'm going to paint it probably with the green before I do it, just to get some color, to cover up that stuff underneath. I could prime this model, but I'm debating. But yeah, so essentially I need to do more sculpting first. I will do some green to maybe lengthen up these little spikes of power around his hand to make them going more toward the front. And I will start with green, like right here on doing it right there next to the hand will be a good way to get this to not break in the future, right? So I can start with green, but after that, if I want just some subtle little flowy texture along this brass rod to kind of disguise the brass rod, then using the water effects actually isn't a bad choice in my experience. You know things. Yes, I know things. Okay, thanks for hanging out. Wow, it's already after 11. Yes, thank you, Agent Marvel. Thank you for showing up. So yeah, we also blocked in basing on Ms. Necromancer, so we'll be working on her a little bit more. So yes, evil is replaced by evil. We're just going to keep it on that. So we'll continue working on her basing. But yeah, so I will green stuff right up there, the first part of the wire, just to make it thicker. And then I'll use a little bit, and I may do what Julie was just saying, use some super glue on this wire to give it a little bit of texture, and then go in with the water effects to see what I can get to stick. And we'll see. I could probably do a little green, but the problem is it is fragile. So using the water effects should give me kind of that rippling, like weird energy. I may even be able to make it more intricate. There are tricks you can do with the water effects. I feel like this stuff is really underutilized in our hobby. There are some pretty cool things you can do with this. But we'll see. First, I have to find out if this bottle is actually dried up, because I haven't used it for ages, and this might be actually David's. And I don't know if I can even get the top off. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this is a dried up bottle and I have to order a new bottle. Because you get a ton, and then if you don't do a bunch of water effects, you're kind of like... We'll see. Oh yeah, it's still good. Like, it comes out, so as long as it's like coming out in that little goop loop, I can use it. So this stuff is great for... The favorite thing I love doing with this stuff is icicles. You can take a piece of plastic card and lay down kind of a globby trailing off line, and once it dries, it's a clear icicle. Like, it's flat on the back, but then if you really want to, you can take more and kind of glue it down the back. And once it dries, you have a perfect icicle. It's Woodland Scenics Water Effects. Water Effects. I don't know if that's still its item number. They may have changed it, but yeah. You can usually find it at, like, Hobbytown USA type places and etc. Yes. Goop loop. Yeah, it's a goop loop. You know. Right, exactly. It is far more fluid, and so you can essentially goop it around. I should be able to make a really interesting texture on this wire. I should be able to even make strings of it between the original spell effect and the wire. Like, that's, like, to really integrate it, I feel like a mixture of green and the water effects is where it's going to be at. It's solid. Yeah, I know. It's old, right? The good thing about it is that usually it's like all of $12 for a bottle, right? So it's not expensive. But so that's, I think, where we'll stop today. I at least glued it. So that'll give it lots of time to set nice and solid. And then when we come back, we can do a little bit of green work just right at the start of it and see what we can put together. And I may need to... Gel tip. Well, if you don't have an immediate use for it, don't buy it. But then, like, just remember it when you want to do something cool like this, right? When you want to do something interesting and flexible and you know, a little bit delicate, like it can work. It's titchy to work with. It is you saw the goop loop. It's like working with a slightly more solid Elmer's glue and trying to sculpt with it. So it can be frustrating, but if you just you have to have patience with it. You got to have patience. And sometimes you actually want it to dry a little bit before you start playing with it. Like if you're really trying to do like frothy wave effects, and I did this, God, a long time ago on the Spirit Beast. If you look it up, years ago on this show, I showed people how to do like the frothy water effect on the top of waves. You could do it with this stuff. That's exactly what you do. And you set it up as a glob, and then as it starts to dry, you start pulling it out into little thin droplet strands, and you can get some amazing effects with it. So you must have it now. You're a true hobby enthusiast, Gel Tip, I can tell. One of us. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to be patient with it, but you can get some really cool effects with it, so. Oh, it shrinks, huh? Yeah, this stuff, not so much. A little? Yeah, a little. But I should be able to do, I mean, I stick with this product. I haven't really tried the Vallejo or AK. I know AK has some great effects too. But I stick with this because I'm familiar with it. So I know that for the most part, although it may shrink slightly, it's gonna like be okay for most of what I do. Especially if I'm working with it where I need to let it set up a little bit and then start pulling it and shaping it. So, and probably on this we might do a kind of a combo of the two. But we should be able to get some very interesting, I hope much more interesting spell effect going on with this guy using this stuff. And I might have to use some plastic art as well. We'll see. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. All right. That said, I think we'll probably have to end here with our happy little spell effect just coming off the edge there. Oh boy, yawn attack. I hope you guys have a lovely Monday. Yeah, Rhonda will be back at 2 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow, here on this show, we are starting... Oh yeah, it's on. And we have to do more green stuff tomorrow. It's going to be green stuff week, I can tell. We are starting Witch Hunter Mouseling. Hold on, let me back up. Back up. He's huge and ornery. Well, for a mouse. So what we have to do on this guy tomorrow is we have to put some green stuff around the top of his hat. So we need to make it look like his little ears are coming up out of the hat. Right now they're just kind of like, the hat goes flat right up next to them. So they're just kind of like lumps. I want the hat to look like it's kind of like he cut holes in it for his ears and the edges are kind of frayed. So that's what I want to do tomorrow. I want to set up that green work. And then we could talk about colors. I think I want to do him in blue, maybe golden brown fur. We could do some gray and brown. We could do more traditional mouse. We can talk about colors tomorrow for Mousy. But yeah, so he's ornery and he can't wait to get some paint on him and he's fun. So yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, don't let pheasants steal your phones like Kuroniko. Bribe them with, what did you bribe it with? Cheese? Yes. Thank you everybody. Pheasants. Strike against the pheasants. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.